They say this is a big rich town. I just come from the poorest parts. What is up, everybody? This is your girl, Sophia the Diva, and I'm here to do a live review and discussion of that oh so yummy, so wonderful show on Starz, Power. We are in season 5. We are in episode 5. Oh, good God, soon the season will be over. And it was just so much in there. So when we last left off on the previous episode, which was titled Happy Birthday, because it was Tariq and Raina's birthday. Of course, Raina is no longer with us. She is dearly departed. Ghost finds his way after the pastors ask him where did he go wrong. He ends up back where it all began, where all of his trouble began, if you ask me. I think the day that Angela Valdez walked back into his life is when it all started to go wrong, when he thought it was going to go so right because the love of his life had finally shown back up. So I always say he found himself back in Lost and Found, is what I like to say. Him and Angela are in her apartment and he's there and he just tells her, he says, I thought that as the days went by, things would get better for the loss of my daughter. But it's like every day the pain gets worse and worse and worse. And he's told her, he said, I told you some of my biggest lies. The biggest lies I ever told were to you. And then that's when we have a flashback, and then that's when we have to realize that James had to break up with Angela without actually telling her why he was breaking up. If you remember last season, I believe it was, or actually I think it was season 3, when Milan was around and Milan told him that he would kill his whole family and his girlfriend if he didn't do what he said do. So that's when he broke up with her and told her it was over. So that's why he never told her about Milan, and he said, I knew you would try to do something about it. But she told him, she said, well, that's fine, sweetie, you know, but you can have the sofa. Of course, we have this moment where she's in her room and he's in on the sofa, and it's like all that sexual tension and lust inside those walls together, just moaning. Needless to say, and surprisingly, none of them actually, neither one of them acted on this sexual tension. I was surprised because usually Jamie and Angie be going at it like rabbits and shit. The next morning, she steps out the room and she kind of has this look on her face like, damn, he's still here. But now I know why she had that look on her face, and that's because there's a knock at the door. Oh my God, who is it? Is it Tommy? I was like, oh shit, you know she's scared because Tommy came last week and scared shit out of her when he asked for the tracker back. She answers the door and it's Tasha. And Ghost is like, what the fuck's going on here? Like, why is Tasha standing here in your doorway? And that's when they tell him that all the shit that had been going on with Tariq and the whole police investigation, they've been trying to thwart all of their efforts to find out who Ray Ray's killer is, because it's Tariq and we want to protect Tariq and give him the life, a full-fledged opportunity at life despite this fatal mistake that he made. How would you feel if you saw your wife and your side chick working together? I mean, I don't know. But now Ghost knows everything and he's like, well, fine, I'm gonna let you ladies handle it. I got some stuff to take, I got some stuff to take care of my own. Now, this whole time I had been referring to, as I often will mix up characters' names, I thought the sergeant from the NYPD's name was Brenda Rodriguez. Turns out it's Blanca Rodriguez. How come y'all didn't tell me that? Y'all know. Now, y'all told me when I messed up Jukebox name, it was calling her Juice Box, because my deductive reasoning self felt like, well, if she like juice boxes, maybe her name is Juice Box. I'm just saying. Either way, she is not going to go away quietly. She tells them that ballistics report, we need to find Tasha's gun or the ballistics report on Tasha's gun, because that's the gun that killed Ray Ray. At least that's the theory. Meanwhile, Dre is essentially stuck between a rock and a hard place with the Jimenez siblings. Alicia is now on the trail of Diego and Dre's plan. She's like, I said no war. She was like, so what's up? What's going on? And he was like, well, I think that Tommy and Ghost had something to do with it. And she's like, I see what you're doing. I know I told you to handle it, but make sure it don't trace back to you. She says, if you go after Tommy and Ghost, it's going to be a problem. And basically the advice she gives him is make it look like someone else was sent. Throughout this episode for James, and well, for Dre to pin it on somebody else. Before leaving the apartment with Angela and Tasha, he's like, well, we need to consult an attorney and find out about this. I'm going to talk to Proctor. And Angela's like, that's not a good idea because Proctor no longer has his license to practice. But instead of him following Angela's advice, he calls on Proctor. Proctor is essentially over Tommy and Ghost because, but for him getting involved with them, he might still have his law license, despite the fact that he already is one of those defense attorneys that prosecutors love to hate because, first of all, he outlawed most of them, okay? Prosecutors do not like to be outlawyered, but when they are, vengeance is mine, says the prosecutor. Proctor says you need to have an airtight alibi and you need to make sure that you can pin it on somebody else. But he says, honestly, the best thing I can tell you is to think about yourself because that's what you're good at. And I was like, damn, the blowback in James' life is real. Now, the whole thing with this whole episode is that James St. Patrick is a changed man. Like, his whole thing is like that John Legend song, I can change for you. Holla, holla, holla. You remember that? Maybe it's me, maybe I bore you, but ain't nobody trying to hear it. James can apologize 1,000 times and people will still be like, why you lying? Tariq, meanwhile, is at the place of magical unicorns and shit. As Kanan ultimately points it out, James is trying to make amends to everyone, so he calls and apologizes to his son by leaving a voicemail because Tariq doesn't want to talk to his dad. I hope he listens to that message before he uses those pills, but of course he ends up not using these pills, y'all. And his little white roommate comes in there to my, say, man, oh my, yo, my sister used to have some of these, yo, can I have some? And I'm just like, he's like, I'll buy off of you $20 a pill. I'm like, God damn. $20 a pill. I recently found out, because I don't have health care temporarily, that some of the medication that I had been getting with my prescription card, I was like, God, no wonder people be selling this shit for $20 a pill, because oh my God, how much it costs just to get a refill. Like, they were like $80, and the pharmacist smiled at me about it, and I was like, no, you know, that's not a necessary. We don't need that. We gonna just pooch along. But now I see why people sell that stuff at $20 a pill. So Tariq is ignoring his, but he's not ignoring Kanan's calls. Meanwhile, Tommy is out with his newfound daddy, having Tony Teresi play lookout for him while he goes and puts the tracker on, of all people, car, Dre's. Which, of course, he made a deal with the devil, Angela Valdez, to do just that. While Dre is on the inside having a meeting with Tate, Tommy does this. I can't believe Tommy actually trusted his daddy, because I would have been afraid to just be like, yo, if you see anybody come and call. And Tony's like, yeah, I got it. And I'm just like, he might not got it. He might just let you get got, Tommy. But inside, Dre is having a meeting with Tate. Tate now all of a sudden has questions about Dre, because during the altercation and confusion that happened at Truth the night before, James brought up the fact that, well, you know that he sells drugs, right? And so now all of a sudden Tate got questions like, Dre, is it true I know you sell drugs? He's like, yo, no, I don't even know James on that level like that. When I met him, it was just about nightclub business. He saw me, he tried to help me out, business deal went bad, and that's all. And I'm just like, even though Dre hates James right now, or Ghost, he still was willing to protect him by not telling the real truth about him. And he didn't tell Tate that it is in fact because he was a dope boy that he met James. He also needs to tell him that James taught him, but he didn't stick around long enough to learn all the lessons of James Ghost St. Patrick. They meet up with James at the club, and Dre is like, I'm really not here for the bullshit. If he gonna hem me up or anything like that, I need to leave. And he was like, no, I'll take care of him. I'll talk to him about that. So they get there, and that's when an announcement is made that the Queens Project is under investigation. There's a federal audit, which is normal. Okay, But why this particular project out of the blue? And I suspect that because Teresi been running back to Unky and Dookie Bunk twins, Mock and Sax, that may be why the question has even come up about auditing. So now all of the investors now have to have their books open and make sure that it's clean, which lets James know that he can no longer wash Tommy's money, which is not going to be good between him and Tommy, because, you know, Tommy is not rational and doesn't understand the concept of I can't wash your money, because rather than if I continue to wash your money, we all gonna go to prison. That don't register in Tommy's head. After this meeting with Tate and Tate departs, the changed man known as James St. Patrick has decided that he wants to have a truce with Dre. Or does he really? Is it really just a ruse, a distraction? Needless to say, Dre is leery of this, but he tells him that, you know, I'll even look into unwinding a non-complete peak clause and help you get your job back. That's interesting. Angie is still feeling guilty for her and Jamie being together. So while she's prepping Tasha for this investigation that the feds want to bring her in on regarding the gun and the murder of Ray Ray, she tells him, I just want to let you know that James and I still are not together. We're not sleeping together. And Tasha is like, bitch, I don't give two fucks about what you and James do. Because in her mind, she was like, Tasha got a man at home. His name is Terry. Anyway, Tasha says she don't care. Just tell me what I got to say to get out of this upcoming interrogation. Mock is really desperate. One of the Unky Dunky Bunk twins. Mock is really desperate. He's so desperate, in fact, that he has tracked down, hunted down Proctor's ex-crackhead, cokehead ex-wife trying to get her bar license back. To let her know that he'll help her out with the custody, because if you can tell me if Joe is still hanging out with any of his criminal element of a family, he says he no longer does. Which I'm like, even if he does, what business of it is it of yours? But okay, so he's basically going around strong-arming people, which to me personally is unethical and a violation of our code. I'm sure the American Bar Association has something to say about that too. You can't go around basically doing witness tampering. That's what you're doing. Obstruction of justice. The list goes on and on. It's just improper conduct. It's not ethical. It might not even be per se wrong, but in the line of ethics, the way that he's acting, he's walking a very fine line where his license could be taken too, if you ask me. Meanwhile, Dre's organization is getting more and more ragtag by the day. There's just no honor amongst thieves. And Cristobal is right when he tells him, look here, you want to run the streets, you should have learned Spanish. And that's the one thing that we all know that James St. Patrick also had. James knew Spanish, and he knows Spanish very well. See, that's a lesson, little boy, you could have learned right there. But needless to say, Taurinos are being dropped in the street. It's starting to look as though Dre is the one that has initiated this. And so Cristobal got questions, right? So when he's talking to Tweedledee and Tweedledum, Francis and Spanky, I personally think Spanky is the smarter of the two with his David Ruffin looking ass. But either way, you know, it's like, well, yo, I didn't kill anybody. You know, like the only Toro or Tyrina that he killed was, I guess, that one they saw in the street that day, which technically Dre didn't tell them to, but they pulled the trigger anyway. Either way, Cristobal, I like him though, because he started speaking Spanish about this country is ours. Motherfucker can't even keep his organization straight, all in Spanish. And Dre is all paranoid, like, what are they saying? I don't know what they're saying. Hey, Mia. So Tommy and his dad are hanging out at his apartment as always these days. Ghost comes by. He's like trying to tell Tommy in private, look, man, I'm not going to be able to wash your money anymore. But before he can even get to that, Tommy's like, anything you got to say, you can say in front of my dad. Okay. I'm like, are you crazy? You still ain't put two and two together? On Tell Miss Deja, I said, hey, girl, I miss her. Anywho, your daddy was doing a life sentence, and it ain't dawned on you that maybe you should not say too much of anything in front of him. So this is when James has to tell him, look, I can't wash your money at the club. A federal audit is coming down. And he says, I'm sorry. And then Tommy was like, you always sorry when it comes to you. Look, what? And then Tony tried to co-sign in, and like James was like, I don't need none of your help in the background. But Teresi was right too. Like, yo, you don't want the feds coming down and him washing the money. I mean, it doesn't make sense. So he's like, I'm gonna leave. And then he sneaks out like a rat with cheese. Okay. Looking with this longing look like, I want to know more so I can tell Mark and Saxe. I'm just like, Tommy is just stuck on stupid. So you want him to keep washing your money and then you both go down. Okay, that don't make any sense. So Teresi told Mark and Cooper to back up on their investigation. He said, I have no doubt that it's you all that decided to initiate this federal audit of truth. And he says, don't worry, I'm going to get y'all what y'all want. And Mark, with his cocky behind, who don't realize that eventually he gonna be sleeping with the fishes, was like, well, it really don't matter because our deal is done. Do you want us to let everybody know that you out here snitching? And I'm like, really, that's uncalled for. Ghost, meanwhile, ends up back at home, and he trying to tell Tasha that he's sorry, that he blames himself for everything that has happened, including the death of Raina. She tells him he is still selfish, and once again, it's all about him. I'm like, damn, can Ghost even catch a break? Like, y'all can't even like give him a chance. The man, at least he said he's sorry. Not a lot of men can fall on the sword and say, look, baby, I messed up. I was wrong. Tasha just mad at him, period. And she mad at herself too, because both of them are complicit in the downfall of this family structure. Mark goes out and finds Tommy. I guess he done bilked and made the desperate mom go ahead and give up the ghost about where Tommy hangs out with his cousin. And Mark, with his pompous ass, that hubris that he has will indeed be his downfall. Oh my God, it's so disgusting, that haughtiness, like he just knows. Well, you better give me some in 48 hours or I'm going to initiate a warrant. And I'm like, why are you going to initiate a warrant? And somebody said the reason why on Twitter when we were talking, it was like because he lied under oath. And I'm like, technically, you could say he lied under oath. But at the time, no, he was not associated with any of his family members. Was that a stipulation in the ruling from the board that he couldn't associate with his family members post-hearing? That's a good question. So Mark is full of shit. I'm so sick of him. I really am. If I was Proctor, I would let his cousin go ahead and handle him. So needless to say, Proctor's now also stuck between a rock and a hard place. Oh, Kanan done found his favorite sidekick. Now, here's something I didn't know. And maybe I did, but y'all know last season I stopped watching because once I found out Raina got murdered, I said I never was going to watch this show again. But some of my homegirls and homeboys decided, we really want you to watch and review this. Okay, whatever. Y'all better watch these videos and thumbs them up and give me some playtime. That's all I know once I load this over to YouTube. So I didn't know that Tariq is really just stupid. Okay, come to find out, Juicebox made Kanan confess to Tariq that he murdered his own son. And you still want to hang out with Kanan because you think your daddy ain't shit. Okay, because he said that something about his dad, and Kanan was like, oh, okay. He said, well, I don't even want to talk about my daddy, man. Fuck that nigga. He was like, let's get out of here. So I'm just like, okay, that's interesting. Now, I've never heard anybody talk. I understand if your daddy hadn't been around, hadn't provided anything for you, but now all of a sudden you hate your daddy because you found out the life that you live in is because of drugs. And Kanan also sells drugs, not to mention does a lot of other illegal stuff. Your logic, Tariq, is jacked. And I'll be glad when you get caught in the crossfire. Maybe you should pop a few of them pills. Please do us all a favor and go away. They go on the joyride to some rich man's house in some gated community. I guess this was somebody that was locked up in the federal pen with Kanan at one point, and they have some sort of criminal negotiation, some sort of criminal deal going on. And so they get there, and the white dude's like trying to talk crap to Kanan and told him, the terms of the deal has changed. And Kanan like, ain't shit changed because I'm just going to whoop your ass. And so he did. And Tariq just stood there like totally disassociated from his body. Like, I was like, this child has become a psychopath overnight. They leave. They get to the gate. The guard is like, yo, there was a disturbance. What house are you coming from? We need to know. And then Tariq came up with, he had dropped off some philosophy paper to a professor. And when he asked him what the professor's name was, he had a false pseudo asthma attack. Okay. Kanan like, what you do that for? Once they got out, he was like, yo, man, you had a bunch of weight you were carrying, so I had to do something. He was like, you better at this than your daddy. Yeah, that's what's up. That's what's up. But again, he murdered his daddy, Tariq, and you still hanging out with him. Okay. Then on top of that, Kanan was like, and you know, your daddy took out Ray Ray. He was like, that nigga didn't take out Ray Ray. I killed Ray Ray. And I was like, oh, Lord. Okay. James is trying to make amends with Tate as well. He apologizes to him and he tells him, you know, I'm going through a really hard time and I'm sorry. I'm going to do better. And Tate's like, you know, I'm not buying this bullshit, right? You know, I'm not buying it. I was like, really, Tate? You not buying it? And then all of a sudden, James says, well, you know what? Just to make it right for you, I will donate $50,000 to your gubernatorial campaign. Then Tate's like, I can see that you are a changed man, my brother. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you. But either way, he didn't do that. But y'all know I have to be extra on these. Rodriguez is the one who's going to be interrogating Tasha St. Patrick. And Tasha get there like, yo, what's the dude that's supposed to be interviewing me? I thought we were going to have it here. Now, the federal prosecutors are there. She shows up without an attorney. Why for the life of me do you show up without an attorney to an interrogation? But I guess they felt like, well, if she shows up, it'll show that she's not guilty. And they really are. Rodriguez is Angela's protagonist, antagonist, whatever you want to call it. Actually, her antagonist in this show, her mirror also. And she's like a dog on the bone. Like, she starts really messing with Tasha's head during this interview. And in the end, Tasha gives her nothing but what she gave Tasha. Tasha was doubt to believe that maybe Angela and James are setting her up to take the fall so that they can be together. But what good would that do when her and James are already in the process of trying to separate and get a divorce anyway? Girl, think. That's what they do. They play with your head. But she did good because when she leaned in and told Rodriguez, my husband did not kill Ray Ray or Raymond Jones or whatever his name is. Needless to say, though, that was a stressful day. Ghost and Dre at some point meet up again and they make another deal where Dre will take care of Jason, who is Tommy's connect, and Ghost will take care of Diego. So I'm like, what's the setup here? And then Alicia did tell Dre, find somebody else to blame when her brother comes up dead. The prosecutors, Unky and Dunky Bunk twins, Mock and Cooper, are upset because this was not a fruitful interview with Tasha. So they decide to start going through her files or through somebody's case files. I'm assuming they were Angela's. And they come up with nothing. But then, wait a minute. Oh, here's the ballistic report. She buried it inside of evidence. And then Mark was like, oh my God, that's obstruction. I was like same shit you've been doing all this time. And so they were like, yeah, oh my God, we got her. I was like, ooh, Angela, girl, you better call your job because you ain't going to have no job tomorrow. You ain't going to have no pension. You ain't going to have no benefits. You ain't going to have shit. You going to have to really rely on James for real. Hell, you and Tasha probably going to end up in prison together like somebody else theorized. And then James going to figure out to get y'all dumb asses out of prison. Or somebody going to end up staying there and somebody going to get out. But when Tasha gets home, she's looking at James and Angela crazy. She talking about Brenda Blanca also told me that you this and that, and they both looking like, girl, we ain't doing nothing. I don't want James like that. And then she was like, well, either way, we got to do something about this gun situation. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to have Terry Silver, because during the interview, she was like, well, who saw you put the gun up? And she was like, well, Terry Silver, my attorney. And she was like, okay, well, he'll have to be part of the chain of custody. So when she says, I will have Terry do it, I'll have him lie for me. he can say that he saw me put it up. And then James was like, why would he do that? And she was like, because he loves me. Okay. I was like, girl, trust me, don't nobody care. But thank you for helping Proctor out too, because once James tells him that Terry is in with his wife, I'm pretty sure they'll be useful towards him getting his bar license back, and maybe Terry's taken away because Terry's behavior is not ethical. But before we close out this discussion, let's talk about the burning of Arturo at the stake. So when Dre went to go interview Arturo or inquire to him about what all was going on, all of a sudden, Francis Tweedledum was like, how did he know that Jimenez had just gotten out of jail or had been to jail? Nobody told him. They didn't tell him, and we didn't. Good question. So now Dre has Alicia in the palm of his hand. He invites her over. They go through an interrogation. Sure enough, they find out what they need to know. And they throw bottles of alcohol on poor Arturo as he's tied up to this damn chair. And they set his ass on fire. Alicia gets a cigarette. She smokes a little and then drops it and lets it just light up and burn up Arturo alive. What a painful and awful death. Oh my God. And here's the other thing. Why didn't Angela shred the ballistic report? Hell, if you're going to delete it out of the damn computer, you might as well delete it out of the damn file too by shredding it. Not to mention, Proctor called on Ghost to get some cocaine in this episode and was unsuccessful in getting it for him, but he said hit up Tommy. Tommy apparently gave it to him because Proctor goes to deliver the alimony check directly to his ex with an offering of coke. She sees that she's like, I don't want this. You have messed up now. Oh, I got you. I was like, he might actually have you because your fingerprints are now on that damn packet of cocaine. So we'll see how that plays out. Because for all we know, Proctor could be like, I never gave her any cocaine. I don't know what she's talking about. I mean, it could have been a packet of stevia. Either way, it's just a whole hot ass mess over there. Then Tariq has a lot of disdain and disrespect for his father. But in the end, he decides not to take those bottles of pills and end his life. Instead, he has a new lease on life with his new dad at Canaan, his mentor, and he's decided he's going to live, okay? And not to mention, he's also going to go ahead and sell the bottle of pills to his roommate, who willingly hands him over a wad of money. And I was like, but you have a problem with your daddy being a dope dealer, but you just think because it came out of a pharmacy, that doesn't make you a dope dealer, Tariq? Think about it. Then you have Tommy, who's still making dumbass decisions too with his daddy. Now that Tommy doesn't have a pipeline to wash his money and sell drugs, Teresi gives him a new idea, which is cutting out ramen and putting it into the prisons and making money that way. Sammy said he still can't believe that he fucking allowed him to talk him into working with Tommy. But okay, this shit better work out. And Teresi says, don't worry about it. We gonna get him. What kind of scumbag daddy are you? When is Connie gonna tell Tommy? Because that's who's gonna tell him. Your daddy ain't about shit. He trying to set you up with the feds. She probably gonna call him over one, maybe this coming episode. Then also Teresi was being nasty at the beginning of it, talking about how he slept with Tommy's mama. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure Tommy doesn't want to know how he was procreated. Also, another thing in this episode before I close out, when Arturo got burned alive, Angela was right there because she was like, wait a minute, I don't see anything, because she gonna call Tommy, and Tommy is like, what the hell is J-Lo calling? I think that's what he called her, J-Lo, in that scene. I can't remember. At some point during this episode, he called her J-Lo. And I was just like, he was like, didn't nobody tell you to call me? Stop fucking calling me. Needless to say, Angela may have what she needs to maybe even save her job, because girl, they done found that ballistics report. Your ass is grass. But I think that's all that I've got. I don't know who all was on. I know my cousin Mia joined. Some of these down, I retweet a lot. Let me see if I can find some good tweets. Somebody said, my face every time Tariq makes a dumb decision. It's Ice Cube's face like, huh? Then somebody said, I get tired of Tariq acting like someone owes him the truth. You're a kid. Shut the fuck up. Disrespectful brat. I can't stand him. He is an ingrate. Then somebody started a damn poll about who cheated first. And I said, Tasha. Then somebody said, so Tariq, you a drug dealer now? Oh, that's the other thing that Brenda Rodriguez said, and I forgot. During the interrogation with Tasha, she says, I feel like, you know, Angela and your husband are working together, because why is it that Angela Valdez was on the crime scene and she's the one who pointed out where the bullet hole was? Had it not been for her, we probably never would have found the bullet hole. And then somebody was like, and even though Ghost also knows this now too, he still act like he love her and she's the best thing since oxygen. Also, another thing that a lot of us had issue with, and that's, remember when I said I couldn't remember if Tariq knew that Kanan had murdered Sean. Andre Ade responded, and he said the sad part is that he does know that Kanan murdered his own son. Remember, Jukebox made Kanan confess in front of Tariq. What also makes Tariq an A1 fuckboy is the fact that Sean was his best friend, plus Kanan also confessed that he only befriended him to get back at Ghost. So somebody says someone needs to shoot Blanca. She's irking as fuck. And I said, so many targets, not enough bullets. Mark, Dre, Diego, Kanan, Tariq, Tate. Did I miss anyone? Oh, yes, I did. We also need to get rid of Sammy and Teresi, okay, before they get Tommy. I'm telling you, Power is a good show to make you really hate folk, which means that these people are actually doing an A1 job doing these acting, because if you can hate a character and kind of hate them in real life, which, by the way, people, please don't go out here confronting actors and shit. They not there like that for real. One of my friends, like I told y'all before in another video, he loves playing bad guys. He loves playing dark characters, but he's really a teddy bear in person. He is not like that. He just does it because it's the opposite of who he really is. And that's the art of acting. When Tasha told them they offered me full immunity to flip on the both of you, Angela and Ghostface was like, oh shit, we all in trouble. I was like, actually, Ghost kind of ain't in trouble this time. Somebody said Tommy is so stupid. Clearly, he has daddy issues. But anyway, let me get off of here. To my people on Facebook, if this is your first time on this channel, be sure to like this channel, but don't be afraid to pooch on over to my YouTube. And also subscribe to my channel. We are at 314 as of right now. So this channel has really been growing, and I'm very happy about it. So thank you to my YouTube family and followers who are supportive, who try to help me, shout me out, all of that, especially Miss PTV90, to Lisa Ray, and my girl, Jamaica girl. I forgot what the last numbers are, but I want to thank you all for shouting me out and trying to help me grow my channel. But that's all I've got about Power. This has been Power, a changed man. And James, good luck with that. Tariq, you a dope boy just like your daddy.